So as we sit here in February of 2023, we're officially kind of post-pandemic from a labor market perspective, right? And as we look at all the changes that COVID, remote work has brought into the talent market, I don't think there's any bigger change than what's going on currently with relocation, right? We're currently in a market where the talent market is still very tight, and that's in spite of some macroeconomic headwinds that we're seeing. And ultimately now as we go forward, right, organizations are really choosing their own path as to whether or not we're going to go back to the office, or whether or not we're going to be a remote first organization, or we're going to meet somewhere in the middle and be hybrid, right? And it was really interesting. I was talking yesterday to a chief communications officer, and she said, you know, the way I see it, kind of 80% of companies are not going to force their employees back to the office. And I said to her, I said, you know, that's really not accurate, because your lens, right, is technology. So she was chief communications officer for a really large tech company, and that's the world she lives in. And so, you know, tech is much more open to remote work. Tech is much more open to, you know, a environment where there's a mix of people in the office, people away from the office, especially in what I'll say is kind of your large technology. But that's not really the case as you look across the rest of corporate America, right? I think as we're sitting here now and we can see that organizations, a lot of organizations want to get back, right? The collaboration, the training, all those pieces of how they get work done have found are really important. And you know, most organizations I think are going to be forced to go hybrid or be willing to go hybrid. But we're probably going to end up in a world where about 20% of organizations are completely remote. I think you're going to have another 40 to 45% that are some sort of hybrid. And I think the number that's going to surprise most people is I think 35 to as many as 40% go back full time, right? And I wouldn't be surprised over time that number goes up. So what that ultimately means now is if we're going back to the office, right, be that either full-time or hybrid, then I'm hiring a new executive at a senior marketing level, the area that we play in, right? I'm expecting relocation at this point. So we really work kind of director through C-suite. So director of digital, director of e-commerce, you know, director of product marketing up through chief marketing officer, chief product officer, SVP of marketing, head of communications, brand, advertising. That's kind of the world that we live in, right? So it's a pretty broad spectrum of candidates that could be compensation wise, you know, base salary $225 up to base salary of $1 million and everything in between, right? And so what we're seeing really is that if your expectation is someone relocates, then the role itself from a talent perspective needs to be worthwhile, that it would warrant that, right? So if I just have a normal company with an average brand and I'm only looking for a director level person, relocation is going to be extremely difficult, because at that director level, let's say we're at 200, 225, 250 on base salary, they probably don't have to move, right? There's probably other opportunities that are equally as good that will offer them the opportunity to be in the office but in their current market, or work remote. And then as you go up, right, into more senior positions, SVP, CMO, Chief Product Officer, Chief Digital Officer, Chief Communications Officer, right? Now, yeah, okay, I get it. Those opportunities are fewer, there's less of them, and if I want to move forward and grow my career, I'm probably going to have to relocate, right? And so that's really the big disconnect we're seeing is organizations expect it. Organizations are back to saying, hey, if we're going to be hybrid or we're going to be fully in the office, anything other than remote first, our expectation is relocation. And the candidate perspective is really pushing back on that, and it's much harder than it's ever been in my 25 years of doing this to get candidates to relocate, even at that very senior level, right? And so we need to make sure that we've got a really great opportunity from a career challenge perspective, from an organizational perspective. Is the place they're going a great brand, a great opportunity, a great company, a great place to work? And, you know, are we really making it meaningful for them to make the move? Because people are less excited about that than they were historically. So where we're seeing it's working and working very well, at the top level of marketing food chain, right? And where we're seeing it's extremely challenged is that director, senior director level, where they don't have to move for an equally good opportunity, or even an opportunity that might be only 90% as good. But why would I move my family for that? Is the perspective of talent has really changed post-COVID on this. So that in a nutshell is what we're seeing is the biggest disconnect between organizations saying it's time to move, time to relocate, we're going back to the office, and candidates being more reluctant than ever across all levels to do so, but where we're seeing it's very difficult at the more junior level and possible at the more senior level.